Hello, welcome to Assembly for today, Friday, yay! And it's the end of term, which means that you've got your Easter holiday coming up. So you've got 2 weeks, and then it's actually the Easter weekend. And on Monday, we looked at the Easter story from the point of view of the donkey who carried Jesus into Jerusalem. And on Wednesday, you guys watched the assembly that I did a couple of years ago, which was all about different Easter traditions. Now, I really like this time of year. I think this time of year, it's my absolute favorite. Some people really love the summer with the warm weather. Some people like autumn with autumn colors when it's nice and cozy. I love the spring because this is a time of new growth. And Easter is about the death of Jesus and the rebirth of Jesus when Jesus came back from the dead. And that for Christians is a kind of similarity with the change of the seasons because it's about things coming back from looking like they were dead. So I love driving and seeing trees at the side of the road because just about now you can start to see these green shoots on the trees. And I spend a long time in my garden and I can see all of these green shoots. I've got little plants coming out of the ground. I've got frogs spawning in my pond. I've got birds that are landing on the bird feeder. And it's all of these signs of new growth. And that's what spring is all about, new life. And Easter is a story about new life because Christians believe that Jesus rose from the dead, had that new life. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to read you another version of the Easter story. So similar to what we had on Monday, but a little bit more detailed because now we're going to get into a little bit more of the story. So let's share my screen. Here we go. The story of Easter. Many years ago, Jesus arrived on a donkey in Jerusalem. It was a Sunday. The people were very happy to see him. They waved palm branches to celebrate and laid them on the floor so the road wasn't too bumpy for the donkey. We remember this day as Palm Sunday, which marks the start of Holy Week. But not everyone loved Jesus. We need to get rid of Jesus. The people will follow him and not us, said Caiaphas, the high priest. And the other officials agreed. He's claiming to be the Son of God. We don't believe him. We will lose all power if the people follow him, said one of the officials. Let's make a plan to get rid of Jesus, said Caiaphas, the high priest. The high priest and officials came with a plan to capture Jesus. They bribed Judas, who was one of Jesus' 12 disciples. They gave Judas 30 silver coins in return for him leading them to Jesus. Jesus knew that his time on earth was coming to an end. He sat down for supper, for the Last Supper with his disciples. Jesus gave thanks for the food and broke the bread. Eat, this is my body, which is broken for you, he said. One of you has betrayed me, said Jesus. The disciples were confused about who would do such a thing. Jesus knew it was Judas, though. And after they ate, they drank the wine. And the wine represented Jesus' blood, which was shed for mankind. Jesus, I promise to always stand next to you. I would lay down my life for you, said Peter. Jesus knew that Peter would deny him, would say that he didn't know what was going on, didn't know Jesus. I tell you, Peter, the rooster will not crow today until you deny that you know me 3 times, that you say you don't know me 3 times, said Jesus. Let's go to the Garden of Gethsemane. I need to pray for strength, Jesus said to his disciples. And while he was praying, they'd fallen asleep. Are you still sleeping? Look, the hour is near. My betrayer is approaching, Jesus said. Just then, a large crowd armed with weapons arrived, which had been sent by the chief priests and guided by Judas. They arrested Jesus. He didn't run. He willingly gave himself, and they led him away. Peter followed them at a distance. He waited outside. People started to recognize him as one of Jesus' followers. When they asked Peter if he knew Jesus, he denied it. He was scared to admit he was Jesus' disciple. You're one of the 12 disciples, shouted a man. I don't know or even understand what you're talking about, replied Peter. He heard the rooster crow. He remembered what Jesus had said. He felt a rush of sadness and he began to cry out loud. During the time of Passover, it was custom for the Roman governor to release one Jewish prisoner chosen by the people. Pontius Pilate was the governor at the time. Pilate asked the crowd, "Who should we keep as a prisoner, the notorious Barabbas or Jesus?" The high priests and officials had already spoken to the crowd and convinced them that Jesus was bad news. "Jesus, Jesus," the crowd shouted. "Crucify him, crucify him." "What crime has he committed?" asked Pilate. The crowd continued to shout louder, and Pilate realized he'd get nowhere. So he took some water and washed his hands to show everyone he didn't want to be blamed for anything. This is where the phrase "washing our hands of something" comes from. Jesus was beaten by the governor's soldiers, and a crown made of thorns was rammed onto his head. He was forced to carry the cross through the streets of Jerusalem. The crowd laughed and mocked him. "All hail the King of Jews," laughed a man. Jesus became too weak to carry the cross to the hill. The soldiers took a bystander from the crowd called Simon. He was ordered to carry the cross for Jesus. Jesus was on the cross at Golgotha for 6 hours before he died. Even though it was daytime, a darkness covered the whole land. It was a very sad time for humanity. "Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they're doing," said Jesus as he prayed before his death. Meanwhile, the veil of the temple was torn in two as Jesus died. This thick, heavy curtain was used to separate the rest of the temple from the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant was. Once a year, the high priest would visit and offer atonement for the sins of the people. God was showing the people they didn't need to go through another person or ritual to reach him. The day after Jesus died was the Sabbath, the Jewish holy day. The Jewish leaders didn't want the bodies left on the crosses. Joseph of Arimathea was a respected member of the council who was said to be a secret follower of Jesus. He got permission from Governor Pilate to bury Jesus. He and another council member, Nicodemus, wrapped Jesus' body in cloth. Joseph owned a garden that had an unused tomb, and they placed his body in this tomb. The Romans had a guard watch over it. The Jewish leaders made sure the tomb was impossible to enter. And early on Sunday morning, Mary Magdalene and some other women went to the tomb to put some herbs on the body. And to their surprise, the stone had been rolled away and Jesus was not there. "Don't be amazed," said an angel. "You seek Jesus, the Nazarene, who has been crucified. Jesus has risen. He's not here. Behold the place where they laid him." The women were shocked and ran as fast as they could to tell the other disciples. It had been 40 days since Jesus had risen. He was in Bethany with his followers and he prayed for them. Suddenly the sky turned white and a large shining cloud covered Jesus. "Soon you will receive the power of the Holy Spirit. Tell my story to the people all over the world. I'll see you all again someday," said Jesus. Jesus was carried back into heaven, where he took his seat at the right hand of God. With the power of the Holy Spirit, his disciples were able to speak many languages. They were able to spread Jesus' message quickly. Many became Christians that very day, and people continued to speak about Jesus and the sacrifices he made for mankind. And there's the palm leaves. Right. So there's the story of Jesus, and we talked about that in 2 different assemblies now. So Jesus died for everybody else. He said that everybody should be loved, or everybody is loved by God, and that we should show that same love and care to each other. So all the things that we talk about with the global goals in school are similar to some of the teachings in the Bible and in all the other holy books, because they're about looking after the world. They're about caring for each other. They're about looking after each other. And it's really, really important that we do that, because if we do that, if we look after each other, if we care for the world, then we're following teachings in the Bible. We're following teachings in the Quran, in all the other holy books. So it's partly, it kind of feels a bit like a religious thing. It's also just about being good people. It helps us to be good people. And the other thing is, all of those things help us to be mindful, help us to appreciate what we've got right now. And that's really important. Like I said right at the start of this assembly, at this time of year, because it's just gorgeous outside. And I'm recording this on Wednesday afternoon, and it's still raining. But you know what? I can be really pleased with the rain because it's going to fill my pond up and the tadpoles will like that. I can be really pleased with the rain because it's watering my garden and that's going to make things look nice. And I can appreciate the beauty that is out there. So over the next few days, I would like you all to take a moment and appreciate the beauty that is out there, and to have a look and see how lovely all this new life and new growth is. It's the end of term. You've all worked really, really hard. You've all behaved yourselves brilliantly and been fantastic. I hope you all have a really, really lovely Easter holiday. I hope you do lots of lovely things and you come back safely for the summer term. See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.